The following video is not made for kids. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello to my subscribers, this is the TFangy coming to you with what will hopefully be a quick and successful review, and tonight we're going to be taking a look at what for me personally was one of the more anticipated figures of the Age of the Primes line, and it is none other than Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe class as Decepticon Insecticon Venin, or as he was known in the Generation 1 line, Venom, which is the name I'm going to call him here throughout the rest of the review. I am more of a fan of, I've always been more of a fan of the Transformers than I have been of Spider-Man. So yeah, this guy is now and always will be Venom, not Venin. Into me. So, let's take a look at him right here. Here he is inside of his box. Venom is an entirely brand new mold, and that's something that some fans and collectors were kind of hoping that he would be, not a retool or a repaint of a previously released Insecticon. And yeah, I'm really thrilled that he is a brand new mold. You got some artwork of him in his robot mode and in his alternate mode of a mechanical insect. And ironically, even though this guy was originally named Venom in the Transformers Generation 1 line, the species of insect that his alt mode is based on is not venomous at all. Venom transforms from a robot into a mechanical cicada, and cicadas, not only are they not venomous insects, they are actually edible. It's an acquired taste, but there are hundreds of people across the globe who actually enjoy eating cicadas. They're actually a good source of protein, apparently, and apparently some people have described the taste of cicadas as being similar to that of almonds and other nuts. So yeah, so in somewhat of an irony, a Venom transforms into a non-venomous insect. But yeah, pretty nice insect mode regardless. There's a close-up of his head sculpt. Both on that side of the box. On this side of the box, you've got part of the poster image for the Transformers Age of the Primes line, where you've got statues of the 13 Primes. Here on the front of the box, it shows that Venom transforms back and forth in just 17 steps between robot mode and insect mode. Going on here on the back of the box, you've got some product photos of his robot mode and his alternate mode. And it shows that his little hatchet blade and his laser gun, they can combine into a large axe weapon that he can also wield. So yeah, pretty impressive looking action figure. So without further delay, let's get Venom out of his box and take a close look at him in robot mode. Alright, and so here is Venom out of the box and transformed into his robot mode. And yeah, he is pretty impressive and very accurate to his original Generation 1 action figure in terms of the color scheme and where the parts of his insect mode end up. And yes, his Generation 1 action figure did transform with the insect wings being right underneath his arms, which is why the arms are spread out. So yeah, it is pretty accurate to his original Generation 1 action figure, having the insect legs in this position and the wings being like this under his arms. So yeah, pretty overall a pretty fantastic looking robot mode. Even though Venom does have a clear, the visor for his eyes is made out of clear plastic. There's not real any light piping on the back of his head, so it can't really shine through. But here he is with his two separate weapons of the laser gun and the hatchet blade. And of course, as the photo on the back of the box showed, you can plug the hatchet blade here on a 5mm port on the back of the laser gun. And now Venom is armed with a battle axe, ready to fight any Autobot foes who come toward him. And one of the reasons why I said it at the start of the review that, for me personally, Venom was one of the figures I personally was most excited and anticipated in getting and adding to my Transformers collection is because in the Transformers Generation 1 line of action figures, Venom was the leader of the deluxe class Insecticons. The deluxe Insecticons were twice the size of the three regular-sized Insecticons of Shrapnel, Bombshell, and Kickback. The deluxe Insecticons were led by Venom. He was the team leader. The other deluxe Insecticons included Ransack, Heck, I just forgot their names for a second there. Ransack, Bomb Shock, and Chop Shop. So yeah, oh no, sorry, Barrage was the fourth Insecticon, not Bomb Shock. Yeah, so yeah, Barrage, Chop Shop, and Ransack were the other deluxe Insecticons, and we've already gotten action figures of them in the Generations line. So Venom was the last one, who was the team leader, was somewhat ironically the last of the deluxe Insecticons to be given a modern deluxe class size Transformers action figure. And unlike his fellow deluxe Insecticons who were all released as exclusives, Ransack was released in the Buzzworthy Bumblebee Creatures Collide 4-pack exclusively at Target stores back in 2021. And then Chop Shop and Barrage were released in a 2-pack as part of the Mayhem Attack Squad during the Legacy Evolution line in 2023. So it took 4 years from 2021 when the first of the 4 deluxe Insecticons was given a modern action figure, which was Ransack, up until the release of Venom in 2025. So but the 4-year wait was for me completely worth it, with Venom being not only an entirely brand new mold where the rest of his fellow deluxe Insecticons are repaints and retools, but also Venom is the only one of the 4 deluxe UX-G1 Insecticons who's been released at mass retail, so that's a really nice thing. And to know that he's the easiest of the 4 deluxe Insecticons to be released at mass retail. And even though in his bio, Venom technically was only the leader of the deluxe Insecticons, in the minds of some Transformers fans and collectors, even though in the Generation 1 cartoon, Shrapnel was the leader of the regular size Insecticons, many Transformers Generation 1 fans have always viewed Venom as being the leader of all the Insecticons, not just the deluxe X1s, but all of the Insecticons, including Shrapnel, Bombshell, and Kickback. The reason why the deluxe Insecticons never appeared in the Generation 1 cartoon series by Sumbo Productions is because they were among the Transformers action figures that weren't originally a part of one of Takara Tomi's lines of transforming robots that became the Transformers, which were Diaclone, Microman, and Microchange. The deluxe Insecticons came from other company, not affiliated at all with Takara or Tomy, and so just like so many other Transformers Generation 1 characters who were given action figures in the Transformers Generation 1 line, such as the Autobot Jump Starters, Topspin and Twin Twist, the deluxe Autobots of Whirl and Roadbuster, the deluxe Insecticons never appeared in the cartoon due to the fact that they weren't originally Takara Tomy creations. They came from another company just to expand the number of Transformers action figures and characters in the Generation 1 line. One nice thing to note about one thing that makes Venom special, which is something that I personally haven't seen on a Transformers action figure in a long time, is that if you look closely right here on his chest, see if I can get the move his arm so the shadow of the X doesn't catch on my camera, but the Decepticon insignia, if I move it back and forth across the light from my ceiling lamp, right there, the Decepticon on faction symbol on Venom's chest, it's actually sculpted onto the surface of him. So it's not just a tampographed painted logo. Well, technically it is tampographed onto the surface, but it's not tampographed onto a flat surface. It was purposely sculpted. That part of his chest was specifically sculpted to house an insignia on here. They could have put it in the center of him to keep Venom symmetrical if they wanted to, but as far as I can remember, that is accurate to his Generation 1 action figure, again having the Decepticon logo to the side of his chest, not on the center of it. But yeah, despite being a Decepticon faction symbol, the base of the faction symbol is just barely the right shape that if Hasbro and Takara Tomy did want to somehow take this mold and make an Autobot insect from Venom, they could potentially do that if they wanted to. And before we move on to the size comparisons for articulation, Venom's head, it's on a swivel joint, but then there's also a double hinge joint on his neck, so you can elevate his head if you wanted to and have him standing, have his head peeking up above his chest, so it can spin 360 degrees left and right. But yeah, if you want to give him a pencil, want to make Venom a pencil neck, which was an insulting term that was popular during the 1940s and 1950s, as far as I can remember. And you can do that if you want. The arms can spin at the shoulder 360 degrees if you can get them out of the way of his wings. Swivel joint in the bicep, hinged elbows, no wrist articulation due to his transformation. The waist can spin 360 degrees, but it is blocked from doing the full spin by the insect legs here on his back. Universal jointed hips, so the legs can go forward this far. They have the potential to go back up as far as they can go forward, but again, the insect legs are in the way. Waist swivel, swivel joints in the thighs, hinged knees, but they are double jointed due to the transformation joint here on the back of the leg, so just be mindful all of that. The toes can go up and down, as you can see right there, and you do have ankle pivots, so you can get them into a sprawl-legged pose if you want. And the entire foot can also go slightly up and down due to transformation. So yeah, overall, a pretty decent amount of articulation can be found on Venom. Alright, and so here is Barrage surrounded by his Insecticon teammates. We got Chop Shop and Barrage, who were released as Amazon exclusives in a 2-pack during the Mayhem Attack Squad subline of Legacy Evolution. And then over here we got Ransack from the Creatures Collide Target exclusive Buzzworthy Bumblebee 4-pack back in 2021. So yeah, it took 4 years from the time when Ransack was released until Venom, but we finally have modern day action figures of all 4 of the deluxe Generation 1 Insecticons. And yeah, the wait was worth it to finally get all 4 of them, and I do love that even though they each have their own unique color scheme, Ransack being primarily yellow and black, Venom being bright orange and neon green, while Chop Shop is rusty orange and brown, while Barrage is dark green and yellow green, as 2 shades of green to his paint job. Even though they all have a unique special paint job to them, they all still have that uniform. They all look like they're part of a team and have somewhat of a uniform color scheme. So yeah, it's pretty nice to see them all standing next to each other. And then one size comparison a lot of people have been doing in other reviews I've seen of Venom is that in addition to his fellow deluxe Insecticons, a lot of collectors I've seen have brought out the original legacy versions of the Insecticons, which Bombshell, Chop Shop, and Barrage are all repainted and retooled from. Ransack is, of course, a repaint and retool of Kickback, where the only retool part Ransack has is a different head sculpt, while Chop Shop and Barrage are retooled, both technically from Shrapnel, because Legacy Bombshell, which Bombburst is more of a retool of. Bombburst himself also was a repaint and retool of Shrapnel, so both these guys technically are retools of the Legacy Shrapnel figure. But a special size comparison that I want to do for comparing Venom and the deluxe Insecticons with the original trio of regular size Insecticons. For a special size comparison, here are the tiny Legends class versions of Bombshell, Shrapnel, and Kickback that were released during the 3 Prime Wars Trilogy lines of Transformers action figures. Here's adjusting my camera so they're centered again. So yeah, here are Combiner Wars Bombshell, along with Titans Return, Ransack, and Power of the Primes Shrapnel. Amnolin. So the reason why I brought out the Legends class, aka Core class versions of the Insecticons that were released way back during the 3 Prime Wars trilogy lines is because this is why Venom and the other 3 larger Insecticons that didn't appear in the Generation 1 cartoon were known as the deluxe Insecticons, is because their Generation 1 action figures, putting it bluntly, were twice the size of the G1 action figures of the regular size Insecticons of Bombshell, Shrapnel, Apnel, and Kickback. So the Legends class versions of the 3 original Insecticons from the Prime Wars trilogy lines of Combiner Wars, Titans Return, and Power of the Primes. The size of these action figures compared to the size of the Buzzworthy Bumblebee / Legacy / Age of the Primes versions of the deluxe G1 Insecticons. That's pretty much the size difference of all their Generation 1 action figures compared to one another. So yeah, so if you want to have the 3 original Insecticons be smaller than the deluxe Generations Insecticons, and you want to have, for instance, Kickback and Ransack, just to name an example. If you want the insects to all be different molds, then these smaller Legends class sized versions of Bombshell, Shrapnel, and Kickback are the best action figures to have displayed in your collection, besides Venom, Ransack, Chop Chop, and Barrage. But yeah, there's a size comparison of Venom with all of his fellow Generation 1 Insecticons, the ones that are the most size accurate, to their original Generation 1 action figures. And yeah, pretty nice group of Insecticons. There are 7 of them in total, so with the release of Venom, all of the Generation 1 Insecticons, both the regular sized and deluxe size, they've all been given modern action figures in the figures by Hasbro and Takara Tomy. Let me see, pretty impressive seeing them all standing here amongst each other. So without further delay, let's get it Venom transformed into his alternate mode, and we will wrap up the review. Alright, and so here is Venom, aka Venin, transformed into his alt mode of a mechanical cicada insect. And yeah, it's pretty impressive looking, and there's quite a bit of articulation in the wings, so you can have them spread out if you want. You can also fold them back like an actual cicada. Has its wings folded back over its abdomen, so if you want Venom to be in a stationary position where it doesn't look like he's flying, you can do that as well. And yeah, a lot of articulation in his wings. Since they are on solo joints, if someone wanted to do a bicep of Venom flopping his wings around inward and outward, and then back and forth, side to side, you have the option of doing that. He has 5 of the 5mm ports on him, 2 on the back of his abdomen, 2 on his sides, which the instruction sheet tells you that's where you store his weapons. And then he's got another 5mm port on the underside of him. So similar to his fellow deluxe Insecticons, Barrage and Chop Chop. But for the weapon storage, it takes away the symmetry of Venom, but then with his Insecticon off-center Decepticon logo from his robot mode chest being on there, he's not really that symmetrical anyways. And Venom's insect head is his robot mode head sculpt, pointed upside down, and the 2 orbs on the side of his head are the insect eyes. And one could argue the visor from his robot mode head sculpt, it's now the mouth for his insect mode. But yeah, overall a pretty impressive looking cicada. I don't know of any other Transformers characters, including the other Insecticon characters, who have a cicada for an alt mode, and it just amazes me that, ironically, Venom transforms into an insect that doesn't actually possess any venom and is actually safe for human consumption. But yeah, overall, he's a pretty impressive looking insect. There's only one ball joint with the insect legs, so you can have them inward and outward if you want, but that's pretty much it. The legs can't really move up or down. And there's sculpted detailing here on the underside of Venom's abdomen, where the back legs can sit perfectly fine right there. So yeah, that's one minor gripe to be had with Venom, is that there's not really much articulation with his insect legs. Even though cicadas do like to crawl on the ground, I'm not too knowledgeable on the anatomy of insects, but I do think that they have, real-life cicadas have more articulated joints than that. And of course, for a size comparison, while he's transformed into his insect mode, here is Venom surrounded by his fellow deluxe class-sized Insecticon teammates of Ransack, Barrage, and Chop Shop. And yeah, overall, I really enjoy how they look standing side by side with each other. And I enjoy the fact that Venom is an entirely brand new mold, and he's not a repaint or a retool of a previously released Insecticon, which is the same with which is what's true for his deluxe Insecticon teammates. But yeah, overall, I enjoy having all four of them finally in hand. I was hesitant back in 2021 on getting about Ransack when he was released in the Creatures Collide 4-pack, but then a few years later when Barrage and Chop Shop were released in the Legacy Evolution Mayhem Attack Squad 2-pack exclusively at Amazon, I had hopes that Venom would soon follow and that we'd finally have modern-day action figures of all four of the Deluxe Generation 1 Insecticons. And so yeah, the 4-year wait from the time when Ransack was the first of the four to be released to Venom, the last of the four, who was also the team leader, it was worth it, the 4-year wait, to finally have all four of the Insecticons united. And yeah, the fact that Venom is the team leader of the Deluxe Insecticons, it's a thrill to finally have him to finish off the team. The Insecticons now have their leader ready to lead them into the charge into battle against the Autobots. And of course, for another quick size comparison, here are the Prime Wars Trilogy Legends class Insecticons of Bombshell, Shrapnel, and Kickback. So here's all 7 Insecticons transformed into their alt modes, and yeah, they're all pretty impressive looking in their own right. So for the final proverbial question, do I recommend getting the Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe class Insecticon Venom, aka Venin, and adding him to your Transformers collection? Absolutely. You cannot go wrong having Venin in your Transformers collection. Venom was his original Generation 1 name, so even though he has a new trademark name of Venin, I will call him Venom from this time forth. And yeah, like I said, he is a brand new mold, and with the Insecticons all being mold mates with each other, the fact that Hasbro and Takara went the extra mile and designed an entirely brand new mold for Venom, and just because he transforms into an insect that none of the other Insecticons transform into, of a cicada. Yeah, I'm really thrilled that Hasbro and Takara, the designers, went the extra mile and designed an entirely brand new mold for Venom to use. And yeah, I enjoy seeing him here standing amongst all the other Insecticons. So, especially if you already have the Barrage and Chop Shop figures from the Legacy Mayhem Attack Squad 2-pack, and if you were lucky enough to get the Creatures Collide 4-pack back in 2021, and you also have Ransack, then Venom is a nice way to round off the team by having the team leader finally here to lead the Insecticons. So thank you guys all so much for watching. This has been the TFN Geek. This is my review of Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Venin, aka Venom. I highly recommend getting him and adding him to your Transformers collection, especially if you have all the other Insecticons. So thank you guys all so much, and until next time, please remember to stay safe, stay healthy, transform and roll out. Goodbye, everyone.